It's a beautiful night for baseball in Atlanta, and the Braves try to make it 2 straight over the Cincinnati Reds. Atlanta snapped Cincinnati's 7-game win streak last night, winning 5-4 and 11 exciting innings on Ozzie Albies' walk-off homer. Hello again, everybody, along with Joe Simpson and Tom Glavine. Chip Carey back at the ballpark for Game 2 of the series. Good news last night, fellas, for the Braves, who won their 12th game this month. However, there are some concerns about the way the pitching staff is working right now in this month of June. Good results, but boy, are they having to work awfully hard, especially fellows in relief.
Well, Brian Snitker himself, guys, said that his bullpen is on fumes right now because they've been having to work so much. And he's having to work real hard to try to make sure he doesn't get anybody hurt that's having to work too much. The last 6 games, the bullpen's worked almost 30 innings. Got a decent ERA, some walks in there, and a lot of strikeouts. But take a look over those 6 games. The guys in the bullpen, everybody has worked at least 4 games out of those 6. There you go. Everybody, with the exception of Lucas Sims and Dan Winkler. Everybody has worked at least 4 of the 6 games with a lot of innings pitched. They got to figure out a way that they don't have to work so much.
Well, in the big way, obviously, who does that fall on? That falls on your starting rotation. You know, the best way to alleviate the workload for your bullpen, your starting pitchers to go deeper in the game. That's been a problem. The Braves typically have been in the neighborhood of 5+ innings out of their starting pitchers, and you know, what does it do when your starting pitchers go deep in the game? Well, number one, it helps your bullpen. But look at these numbers when they do. 6+ innings from their starters. They're 26-8 with a 1.4 ERA. Take it a step further. 7+ innings. They're 9-2 with an 0.8 ERA. So it shows you, number one, how good this team is when their starting pitchers get deep. They're winning at an unbelievable pace when their starting pitchers get through 6 or 7 innings. But the side effect of that is it lessens the workload for those guys out there in the bullpen. When you're asking your bullpen continuously to get 12 outs a game, you're asking an awful lot. And as Brian said, it's starting to take its toll.
And I think, guys, over the course of time, they're in first place right now. They're doing great work. And we're almost to the end of June with this workload. At some point, there's going to become diminishing returns with that kind of workload where the guys just can't sustain it for the year.
And that's an excellent point, because even as good as those numbers were with the Braves starters going 6 innings or 7 innings, that means there have been 32 of 77 games where the starter hasn't gone 6. And that's the workload that really starts to catch up to you in the hot months of the middle months of summer, especially, guys, considering Vizcaino's out, and a lot of these Braves relief pitchers are young and inexperienced, and frankly are coming back from injury themselves, which limits Brian's opportunities or options in all these innings the relief corps has to cover.
And that's why he's trying real hard not to cause any more injuries, any more issues with any of the guys down there. You know, Dan Winkler's only been in 2 of those 6 games. That's because they're trying to make sure that he hasn't, because he's worked a lot, not overdo it and run the risk of re-injuring that elbow. Vizcaino's on the DL with some shoulder issues. So it's a real, I guess, a chess match for Brian and Chuck Hernandez, you know, on a daily basis. Who's available? Who's okay? How many innings can these guys go?
Well, let me ask you a bigger picture question, because the Braves, if you look at the average number of innings by their starters, they're right in line with the rest of baseball. Are we seeing the death of the starting pitcher, as it were, as we used to know it, Tom? I'm sure you have very strong opinions about that.
No, I do. I mean, look, I think to a certain extent we are, yes. I think it's, and I'm not necessarily blaming these guys. I think it's become a mindset, it's become a mentality in the game now. Sabermetrics say, oh, well, you can't have your starting pitcher flip a lineup for a 3rd or a 4th time, or, you know, that's not the way the game is played anymore. Bullpens are built to pitch more innings, and I agree with all of that. But at the same time, you know, in my day, we tried to limit the bullpen to 6 outs as much as we could. There were times where they would have to get 9, but in those games, you knew you were flirting with fire a little bit. The same is true in today's game. If you're going to say you're going to stretch that bullpen by an inning, okay, that's 9 outs. When you start stretching your bullpen to 12 outs consistently, that's a whole nother ball game. That brings more guys into the mix, brings more guys into the mix more often. And I don't know that there are any bullpens in baseball that are built to sustain success that way.
Well, if We are going to continue our theme tonight. How apropos is it that Anibal Sanchez, on average, is the man that's averaging the most innings per start of any Brave starter this year, right around 6. And look at those numbers for the veteran right-hander who looks to rebound after a rough outing against the Toronto Blue Jays on the road.
Yeah, tough one his last time out, but his last 4 he's been good. 2-1 with a 2-2, and like you say, getting as deep into the game as any of the guys in the rotation. So, you know, it's one of those things where I think it has to, at some point in time for these guys, and granted, a lot of them are still young. It has to be that mindset that I got to find a way to get 3, 4, 5 more outs in a ball game.
34 years old, 6 feet, 210 out of Venezuela. His 4 keys to the game: 3 passes. He issued a season-high 4 walks in Toronto when he took the loss 5-4 in that game. But he also struck out 7. He still had good stuff. And secondly, home cooking. He's been very good here at SunTrust Park. He's made 3 starts. He's 1-0 with a 1.71 ERA in his home park. Let's hope that continues tonight too.
So how about 7 from Sanchez, a snappy 8.5 inning ball game, and the Braves end up in the win column. That would be
sounds perfect.
Snappy. I like that.
Yeah.
There you go. Scott Schebler leads off for the Cincinnati Reds, who are playing very good baseball. They've won 10 of their last 13 games. Last night's Braves win snapped a 7-game winning run for the Reds. And Sanchez, first pitch. Schebler likes to hack away early in the count. He didn't get it. Strike 1. 87 degrees at 7:36 with our first pitch. And Schebler down a strike, hitting .284 on the year. And he lifts this one toward the gap in left center field. Charlie Culberson is there, makes the play, and Schebler's retired for out number 1. During this 13-game run for the Reds, Jim Riggleman's Toyota starting lineup has given him about 6 runs per game. That has helped support their starting staff. You know about Barnhart, Votto, Scooter Gennett, Eugenio Suarez ought to be an all-star and might be for Cincinnati. Winker, Duvall, Peraza, and Matt Harvey, the former Met, faces the Braves for the first time wearing a Reds uniform in Game 2 tonight. And ball 1 upstairs to the Reds catcher Tucker Barnhart, who went 1 for 5 last night. I think it's safe to say Game 1 was one of many missed opportunities for both of these offenses. Cincinnati left 7 men on base. Make that 8 men on base. The Braves stranded 12, 7 of them in scoring position.
Yeah, neither team was very good at all with runners in scoring position.
Reds had a couple of golden opportunities with the bases loaded last night and couldn't really capitalize or blow it open.
Yeah, the teams were a combined 2 for 21 with men at second and third base. That's up and away for Barnhart. 2 balls and a strike. Tom Woodring has the plate. Don't think we've seen him call balls and strikes. Not that I remember. Carlos Torres, Kerwin Danley, Paul Nauert ring the base paths. Swing and a miss. 2-2. There are many things to love about Anibal Sanchez. As Joe said, limits his walks. He pitches well at home. But this guy pitches. And a slow roller hit to the right side. I'm as in love with the 98-mile-an-hour fastball as anybody. But watching him pitch and make good hitters flail away is like watching pro golfers at the U.S. Open. It's kind of fun to watch what he can do to mess up those players' timing. So Anibal ready. Here comes his 2-2. It's high, full count.
He's had a bit of an advantage tonight too, because not many guys in the lineup have faced him before. He's been over in the American League, and all these young Reds hitters haven't seen him.
Votto and Suarez, the only 2 in the lineup that have. Payoff. It's tipped and caught. Swing and a miss. Barnhart's retired. 2 up, 2 down. And that brings up Joey Votto. Votto was on base 4 times last night. Scored 1, knocked in 1 on a ground out, and 3 more walks. 60 walks against 50 strikeouts for Votto. as we saw all night last night, is not afraid to work a count with 2 strikes.
No, he'll take a couple pitches, get into the count, and like I said, 2 strikes is not a problem for him.
And if you had his hand-eye coordination, you wouldn't worry about it either.
I did, and I didn't.
Well, good for you.
All the way, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Can you repeat that in the microphone this time?
I think it was something like I did and I didn't.
There you
like
go,
that.
right.
Yeah. You know how it is. We're all way better the further we get out of the game.
Mm-hmm. And I've been out a long time.
Votto at 307 on the year. 8 homers, 42 knocked in. And bounces one right to Freddie Freeman. Votto late out of the box, and Sanchez carves up the Reds. 1-2-3 in his first inning. Matt Harvey wearing a Reds uniform to the mound next. Partly cloudy skies on our Checkers weather report. Good to have Kelsey Wingert alongside game 2 as the Braves take aim at Matt Harvey. Ender Inciarte and Ozzie Albies are suddenly red hot, hitting in front of Freddie Freeman and Nick Markakis. Tyler Flowers starts behind the plate. Charlie Culberson in left. You see the lower third of the order. And perhaps, fellas, a change of scenery is exactly what Matt Harvey needed. No longer a Met, now a Cincinnati Red.
Making his 9th start for the Reds, and word is he's starting to get a little bit healthier. Upper 90s a few times in his last start. You see his splits. 4 starts with the 8 games with the Mets. 4 starts, 0-2 with a 7. 8 starts with the Reds, 2-3 with a 4.79. And I think a good indication will be that opponent's batting average is down 50+ points since he's been with Cincinnati. So that's an indication that he is pitching better.
And he'll have to, because the Braves have absolutely clobbered him, not just this year, but over his last 5 appearances. Hopefully that continues tonight. And the first one to Ender is skied foul and out of play, and Harvey's night is underway. Strike 1.
He normally sits 92 to 95, but like Tom said, he's been bumping it up to around 97 at times.
Little roller slowly hit towards Scooter Gennett. Tricky hop, glove flip to first, and in time for the first out. I say this with all due respect to Matt Harvey. When he was pitching here with the Mets, it seemed like, Joe, he was pitching with a great deal of insecurity. After every pitch, he was looking over his shoulder to see what the radar gun was saying his velocity was.
Well, there's a reason for that, Chip. He pitched 8 total innings against Atlanta, 11 hits, 11 runs, and a homer in each of his 2 starts against the Braves. He was not fooling anybody.
He's facing Ozzie Albies, who hit a home run against him earlier this year, and Ozzie, last night's hitting hero with his first walk-off homer, takes a strike. How about Ozzie? He said he called the home run.
It was a good call if he did.
I was proud of him.
Hey, you call your shot, you come through.
You were just happy it was time to go home.
Absolutely. I'd have gone down there and jumped around in the mosh pit with him.
Did you see, by the way, what Ozzie did when he got to third base?
Yes.
He took his helmet off and flipped it to Ron Washington, who started chasing him and almost
threw it back at him.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Line drive toward the gap in left field, but it's going to be caught by Duvall. It hung up for the Reds left fielder. And there's the second out. Watch this.
He's got his hand out for a high five and flips in my helmet. He's like, hey, wait a minute.
I'm not your helmet caddy.
Yeah, a couple things. Ron couldn't catch him.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure he wanted to throw his arm out trying to nail him with a helmet. That was a great moment last night. Another walk-off win for the Braves, their 7th of the year and their 5th game-ending homer. And it was a big play for it. Pushed the Braves to a 3.5 game lead over the Phillies. Phillies are playing the Yankees, losing to them again tonight. Tampa Bay beat Max Scherzer and the Nationals 1-0 already. So it could be an extremely profitable night for the Braves with a win again this evening.
Nationals have a day off tomorrow, and then they go to Philadelphia for 4. So again, it's another one of those situations for the Braves coming up this weekend where they could gain ground on somebody if they just win.
Shift on for Freddie. Whole left side of the infield to play with, but Harvey's ahead of him. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Isn't it weird to see these glimpses of sunshine on the field?
Yeah.
An hour and 20-minute rain delay last night before first pitch. And Harvey sees that one. Racky-tacked foul by Freddie. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And that's tipped and caught by Barnhart. Boy, there's a disappearing slider from Matt Harvey, who has a 1-2-3 first himself.
Hope you know, such an exciting game last night as Ozzie Albies walked it off with that solo shot in extra innings, and you heard Chip just talking about it. Now, when he was rounding third there, I was talking to Ron Washington. Check this out. He said he went to give Ozzie a high five. Ozzie big leagues him, throws him the helmet, and Wash said he was trying to chase him down to chunk the helmet back at him. But as we all know, he said Ozzie Albies is just too fast, and I couldn't get him, Kelsey. But that is the story behind that, Chip, Joe, and Tom.
I love the reactions from Ozzie and Ron. That was great.
And those two guys are pretty tight. They work together every day out on the field with Ron Washington's fielding drills.
So one scoreless inning in the books, and Scooter Gennett is the hitter and takes a strike. Cleanup man for the Reds, leads the league in hitting, tied for third on RBIs, and rides an 8-game hit streak into game 2 tonight. Pop fly foul and out of play.
Tom, you can answer this question for me. I know. I was looking at the tattoo on his arm. If you have something like that written, do you write it on your arm where you can read it or somebody else can read it?
I think you probably write it so you can read it.
Yeah, you would know.
Yeah. So tatted up.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what that says. The pitch.
Stay back, be quick.
Trust your hands.
Well,
just little reminders.
Yeah, well, last night, one of the might have said same thing he asked Jim Riggleman. Do you want me to bunt in the 10th inning? And it was Scooter Gennett's idea to bunt with 2 on and nobody out.
Gotta like that.
It didn't work out.
But it wasn't his fault.
Nope. Jesse Winker popped up, and then Peraza hit into a force out, and somehow, some way, Jesse Biddle got out of bases loaded, 1 out with no runs. 1-2 pitch. Ooh, just missed.
Just missed. Good try by Tyler.
Well, he gave Tom Woodring a good look. He was deep in his catcher's crouch on that pitch. And now the 2-2 is caught on a miss. Gennett swung at a ball in the dirt. Second strikeout for Sanchez. 4 up, 4 down to start his night.
And they've both been on changeups. You know, some of the people, Tom, have been calling this a split. I think because he's got his fingers spaced so wide on his circle change, it kind of looks like one.
Yeah, that's a circle change. That's a good pitch. Set up by that fastball down and away. Good pitch. Scooter laid off it. Was close. Come back with one that looks like a fastball. Looks like it's over the plate. And it's a changeup. Good pitch.
Here's Eugenio Suarez, the Reds' third baseman, who was originally a shortstop. They moved him to third base, and he has turned into one of the best ones in the National League. 16 homers, 58 knocked in. And locked up long-term in Cincinnati. He's put up those impressive numbers despite missing the first 16 games of the year. Up high, 2 balls and a strike. That's hit to third. Tricky hop, but Johan stayed with it. And his throw right on the money. 2 outs. Reds had some bad luck reported earlier this month. Nick Senzel, their #1 pick from a couple of years ago. There was some thought that maybe he would get to the big leagues this year and they could manipulate their defensive alignment somehow, some way. Senzel's season is going to be over. He's going to have tendon surgery on his right index finger after a .310 6-homer start to his minor league year.
Yeah, I think he's out of the University of Tennessee, isn't he?
I believe so. Wasn't he the guy that they weren't sure would pitch or play third base?
Could have been.
But unfortunately, he's done for 2018, or will be once the surgery is wrapped up. It's a shame.
What they say? Got a ground ball off the finger.
Yep.
Jesse Winker as the game's first hit.
Beat the shift.
That's refreshing. So Sanchez to the stretch for the first time, and Adam Duvall's coming up. 2 years ago, Adam Duvall was an all-star for Cincinnati. This year times have been a little tougher for him, hitting .203 with a lot of strikeouts. Still 12 homers for him. Adam will be 30 years old in September. Originally a Giants farmhand, was acquired by the Reds for Mike Leake. And there's an interesting story about that. Adam Duvall's first big league game with the Giants was in 2014. He hit 3 homers that year. The first of them came off of Mike Leake, for whom he was later traded.
Well, we heard that the Reds shopped him around this winter and there were no takers to speak of. And yet this guy in back-to-back seasons, 33 homers, 103 RBIs, 31 homers, 99 RBIs. He hit in the 240s. Last year hit 250. I've always liked him, and it's kind of hard to figure maybe the Reds knew something nobody else did about his really bad start this year.
No balls and a strike. And that just missed outside. Even count. Well, I wonder if we're starting to see a sea change in how teams are evaluating offensive players. High power, high strikeout guys. Are they as valuable now as they were maybe 4 or 5 years ago?
I heard some guys talking today driving in on MLB radio discussing that very thing, Chip, and that the discussion was how baseball is beginning to come full circle on that, where contact all of a sudden, surprise, has become somewhat important. And
you mean strikeouts matter?
And the evaluation that if you're going to hit a homer, shocker, you got to make contact.
Yes.
And that you don't have to swing real hard to hit a home run. With these ballparks the way they are these days, with these pitchers throwing hard, put a good swing on it. You don't have to have 115-mile-an-hour exit velocity.
Well, 69 strikeouts, 237 at bats for Duvall. He's now in the driver's seat. 3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, I would have thought after Kansas City won their World Series, there would have been a little bit more of a push for teams to get back to what they did, which was two strikes, buckle down, and put the ball in play, and make the other team make some defensive plays, and it carried them all the way to the World Series.
Didn't get it. And see, that's a perfect example. That was an 85-mile-an-hour pitch. Had a lot of the plate, and Duvall just flat out missed it.
The other pitches on the strikeout on the changeup, he didn't really have to throw a strike. 3-1. He wants to throw it for a strike, and it still worked.
So, Tommy, what's he do here?
Well, I'm thinking he's either going to go back to that or maybe a fastball in, get him off of that changeup.
Winker leads at first. He takes off. It's a swing and a miss. 89-mile-an-hour fastball earns Sanchez his 3rd strikeout. And the Reds are out of luck in the 2nd inning. And a ball looking good. Home cooking working. One of Joe's Ford keys. So far, so good. No score. Charlie Culberson are coming up for the Braves to face Matt Harvey, who had a 1-2-3 opening inning in Atlanta. What a night for Nick last night. Couple more hits, his 33rd multi-hit game of the year, and fellas, now 101 base hits for the Braves right fielder.
He's like on a streak. He is swinging the bat so well. 5 in a row, 5 games in a row he's hit. And we've got some guys in this series who can darn sure put the ball in play.
So Matt Harvey climbs to the top of his perch as Markakis leads off. Nick second in the league in hitting with a .330 batting average. And 9 hits in his last 5 games. And a ground ball towards Scooter, who makes a nice spinning play. And 1 pitch retires Markakis in the Atlanta second. 4 up, 4 down for Harvey to start the night. And Tyler Flowers is the hitter.
6'4", 220. Grew up in Mystic, Connecticut. Went to the University of North Carolina. First round pick by the Mets in 2010. 29 years old now, but had such great success right away in the big leagues. Some would say in New York that got the best of him.
A little bit.
And 2 major arm surgeries too, the Tommy John and then the thoracic outlet syndrome surgery, where they removed the rib. Same surgery that Mike Foltynewicz had, and apparently there were complications from that surgery that not many people were aware of. Some nerve irritation apparently in the back of the shoulder blade area. And remember when Harvey was pitching here, he was complaining about hand numbness. Well, apparently that was the nerve that hadn't fully regenerated yet. But all appears well so far tonight. He's gotten 4 outs on 14 pitches, 12 strikes. So this is like the Matt Harvey we saw in his early days as a Met.
And he pitched a good game against the Cubs last week. 6 innings, only 5 hits and 2 runs allowed. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts.
Fly ball to right, and Winker is there for the second out. So 5 up, 5 down for Matt Harvey. Let's see if Charlie Culberson can snap that. He's our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
Kind of like these numbers for a guy who doesn't play every day. Hitting over 300 over that stretch. Big hits for the Braves, key hits, including those walk-off homers. And doing a real solid job out in left field.
And Harvey missed upstairs with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. 1 ball, no strikes. Kelsey will have an update on Ronald Acuna's work with Gwinnett. They're on the road tonight. But in the meantime, you're right, Joe. The Braves fill-in left fielders, if you will, have done an excellent job.
You know, it hasn't been a tryout camp. It could have turned into that if no one had taken the reins and gone with it like Charlie has. Danny Santana has come up and been a nice addition too.
Three-ball count from Harvey to Culberson, and 4 bad misses earns Mr. Culberson a 2-out walk. First base runner for Matt Harvey tonight, and Johan Camargo's the batter. '16 RBIs in June for Johan, and he's got 5 hits in his last 15 tries, a single in the 6th inning in Game 1 yesterday. Don't know how this game's going to finish up, but one thing that has been fun on the homestand, guys, the 6, 7, 8 hitters have really done a good job getting on base, getting their share of hits, and feeding the top of the order. And you know how good the Braves have been all year with 2 outs. So all that in play here for Camargo, who bats for the first time and slashes one out of play. It's quickly 0-2.
I think we all like watching Johan play. We like the way he goes about his business. He's really good defensively. He's swinging the bat well. He plays bigger than he's listed. I'm surprised. He's listed at 6 feet. You know, those socks, showing all those socks, he looks about 6'2". 6 feet 195.
He just has a very confident look on his face as he stands in the box, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Feels good about his plan, about what he's doing, and has confidence in it.
1-2 pitch is out of play. I mean, he was so confident last night that in the 6th inning when he got his base hit, he was in the middle of blowing a bubble with the bubble gum. Charlie Culberson at first with a 2-out walk. Wind blowing toward left, it appears, with a 1-2 count. And Harvey to first.
Talk about all the youth on this team and the youth that's coming, the young players, and Johan's only 24. Got here last year at age 23 out of Panama. Real good minor league numbers to earn his trip up here.
Runner goes. Great jump. Barnhart's throw to second is going to be late. The Reds might take a look at this. Peraza came in toward the pitcher's mound to field that throw, which was tailing. He thought he got a swipe tag on the hip. And for the moment, Culberson safely in at second base with 2 outs.
Good crossover step. He missed the body unless he somehow caught the arm. I don't know that they would overturn that.
Maybe not enough to challenge. And a clear miss. But was the side of his foot against the bag. Looks like the Reds aren't going to challenge. So 2-2 the count. A hit means a run perhaps after Culberson stole his third base. And a swing and a miss, and Barnhart applies the tag, and Matt Harvey has his second strikeout.
All-South Highway Safety Team. The All-South Highway Safety Team reminds you to play it safe by never mixing drinking and driving.
Scoreless after 2 in Atlanta. Perfect night for baseball. Joe Simpson, Tom Glavine, Kelsey Winkert, and our great Fox Sports crew with you from SunTrust Park. Game 2 of 3 with the Reds tonight. We'll send Peraza, Harvey, and Schebler to the plate against Anibal Sanchez, who has struck out 3 hitters in his first 2 innings. A 91-mile-an-hour fastball has Peraza behind in the count. Strike 1. Peraza 0 for 4 last night with a strikeout. Excuse me, 0 for 5 last night with a strikeout. I beg your pardon. That snapped his streak of reaching base in 23 consecutive games. Last night Peraza hit 7th. Tonight he's batting 8th. And a liner over Ozzy's head into right center field for a leadoff single. So Matt Harvey will try to help himself with a sacrifice. He has one of those. And the Reds have their first leadoff batter aboard in tonight's game.
Jose Peraza has fulfilled, I think, what people thought of him when he was in the Braves organization. They thought he was going to be a major league player, and he has become that, and getting an opportunity to play every day this year for Cincinnati after Zach Cozart became a free agent.
So Harvey digs in and is pushed off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Over the course of every major league season, there are certain guideposts that get established that at the end of the year you look back and say, well, that was a meaningful moment, or that was a disastrous moment. The Reds are pointing to the acquisition of Matt Harvey as one of the real big and important milestones in what had been a real terrible start to their season. They got him from the Mets in the trade for Devin Mesoraco, and Harvey acquired May 8th. Since then, the Reds are 24-19 on the year. They were 8-27 before they brought him over from New York. That is a very impressive turnaround. As Harvey slugs one toward right center, and Ender is over. He won't advance the runner. There's the first out.
I'm going to lay a lot of that on coincidence, Chip.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it is Matt Harvey, but it's just kind of funny how those things work.
Yeah, because he did win his last start. His ERA did finally drop below 5. He's 2-3. But I will say, a presence of a guy that you know has been a World Series pitcher and a workhorse. Yeah, you got to feel better about your team from thinking of your front office and what they're doing to try to help your team. Yes.
And think about the injuries that they had with Homer Bailey was out. DeSclafani was out. They had the youngsters working in rotation. At least Jim Riggleman had the option and has had the option. Every 5th or 6th day, Matt Harvey's going to pitch for us. How long, we don't know, but we know he's going to be in the rotation.
Yeah, you got a guy with some pedigree, and you're off to the start that you're off to. Your front office sees an opportunity that, you know, maybe it's a reach, maybe it's not, but we're going to at least not stand pat, and we're going to try and right the ship here a little bit. I mean, that sends a positive message to the players, no question.
And I think there was really nothing to lose.
No.
You know, there's a good chance he might rebound back into form, and boy, you could really take advantage of that.
Scott Schebler flied out to left his first time up. Peraza is a threat to steal with 13 swipes. He's at first base here in the Reds' 3rd inning. Well, yeah, for the Reds, they've got nothing to lose. They already had Barnhart in the fold as a Gold Glove catcher. Mesoraco, talented kid, but hasn't been able to stay healthy. Had that torn hip labrum surgery and was ostensibly a backup. So an extra part turned into Harvey. Swing and a miss. And no chance to get Peraza, who got a huge jump, and he's in scoring position. And Schebler now an 0-2 count.
14th swipe for Peraza. Almost stole that standing up.
Yeah, huge jump.
So the stolen base makes up for Harvey's fly out. And now the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. 4 strikeouts for Sanchez. A 76-mile-an-hour curveball. Again, he's pitching.
Oh, that's a breaking ball.
Yep. That's tough on a hitter when you got to cover. What was that?
76
to 92. Both sides of the plate.
Barnhart struck out his first time. And takes a strike. It's amazing too, Tom, the number of strikes a pitcher can get that aren't strikes, if that makes sense.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, that's expanding the zone. That's, you know, pitching to a hitter's aggressiveness. I mean, any of those things. So yeah, I mean, that, you know, every strike is not necessarily in the book rule strike zone, so to speak. You hope, honestly, you get a large amount of strikes out of the strike zone. If you don't have to throw strikes, your job's easier.
And he's quickly ahead of the Reds catcher, 0-2. Cincinnati struck out 4 times in the game. They're averaging a little over 8 strikeouts per night. And I would think this is a team that wants to hit fastballs, and Sanchez can throw strikes with stuff other than fastballs, which should be interesting to follow as he starts his second time through the order this evening. He scattered a couple of hits, no walks and no runs. The 0-2 pitch lifted to right, another 69-mile-an-hour changeup, and Markakis is there to retire the side. Reds get a leadoff single, nothing else, no score. MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets. Enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Another great crowd on a perfect night. And Braves fans, keep up your great work voting for your favorite Brave for the All-Star game. 3 worthy candidates there, as Dansby Swanson, Anibal Sanchez, and Ender Inciarte are coming up. No score after 2.5. We were told, fellas, that you'll know quickly if Matt Harvey has good stuff. You think he has good stuff so far tonight?
I'd say based on on the results thus far, yeah, real good.
Using a lot of different pitches too. That was an 88-mile-an-hour pitch. That was like a change-up or a backup breaking ball. It didn't do much, but it was off speed.
Just 28 pitches for Harvey after 2 innings, and ahead of Dansby 0-2. And right back up the middle. That's Dansby's second career hit against Harvey. And he takes advantage of a pitch on an 0-2 count. And now Sanchez a chance to lay down a bunt.
Elevated it a little bit. Paid for it.
So Suarez almost ready to shake hands with Anibal. Votto holding the runner at first. And he got the bunt down right in front of the plate. Barnhart to second in time, and the double play.
I don't know about that at second.
I don't either.
No argument from Dansby. He's trotting into the Atlanta dugout. Walt Weiss will get word from the Braves replay center. Let's see.
Looked out on that.
Yeah.
That was a Gold Glove throw from Barnhart. So that helps Harvey. A double play, and now Ender the batter. Ender rolled out to second his first time up, and Harvey gets ahead with a strike.
Coming into the game today, in the 4 games that Ender and Ozzie have hit 1 and 2 again, they've reached 22 times out of 47 plate appearances. That's what you need out of those 2 guys. 22 of 47. They've scored 13 runs.
Ender scored 6 runs on the homestand, 1 in each of the first 4 games. As Harvey missed upstairs. 2 balls and a strike.
Good cut.
2-2.
It's like Ender's getting some of that good wood that Ozzie Albies has been getting.
Yeah, just add a leg kick, and all of a sudden the bat manufacturers take notice. Lifted left side and headed for the seats. We'll do it again.
One of the other things we were told about Matt Harvey was that he had a tendency to fly open. That front hip was opening up too fast and his arm was dragging, but I haven't really seen any signs of that.
No, not so far. Slider's been sharp, his fastball's been down, and those are usually two pretty good signs if that front side's flying. That fastball will be up and the slider will be flat.
Lifted towards center and right at Schebler, who's a step or 2 to his right. And Harvey pitches round a leadoff single to send us to a scoreless 4th. Park, some of the newest Atlanta Hawks were on hand. That's Trey Young, guard out of Oklahoma, the 5th overall pick, throwing out the first pitch. He's got the lob working. He was joined by Kevin Herter, the 19th pick out of Maryland, and Omari Spellman out of Villanova, the 30th pick. They're here at SunTrust Park. And later this fall, you can catch Young, Herter, Spellman, and the Hawks for the 2018-19 NBA season right here on Fox Sports Southeast.
Tell you, everybody in Norman loves Trey Young. Rightfully so. And went to high school in Norman, so he stayed home.
So we wish them a successful season as the Hawks continue their restructuring. As Joey Votto leads off for Cincinnati in the 4th. Scoreless game. Sanchez and Harvey both pitching well. And ball 2 to Votto. Both starters giving their managers what they hoped they would get. Efficient innings. After 11 innings last night. Took that one, 2 balls and a strike.
You know, one of the cool things about watching an on-ball pitch is there aren't any bad misses. You know, he's not bouncing one 6 feet in front of home plate. He's not throwing one over the head of the catcher or causing Tyler or Kurt to have to leap to spear something. He's around the plate.
Yeah, all those pitches have a purpose, and his misses are good misses. He misses in the right spots.
Like that. Votto, though, with that excellent eye, took it for a full count.
That was a good pitch.
So another 3-2. And Votto swings and misses. Something off speed fooled Votto, and that's 5 strikeouts for Anibal. And look at Votto. He hates striking out.
Caught the curveball again.
And is there a more rewarding feeling as a pitcher to see a reaction from a number 3 hitter than what Joey Votto just gave Sanchez?
No.
I mean, he just look at it. Can't believe it.
Thought we were going to have to hold the game up while he got back to the dugout. He was over. He got another pitch.
So here's Jeanette. And that's taken off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Got the word from several fans who know all about Scooter Gennett and his tattoo on the right arm. It's a biblical verse. Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and of self-control. Is the scripture on the right arm. And there's a strike. 2-1. Rare 3-ball count for Sanchez now. To the Cincinnati cleanup man, Scooter Gennett. And ball 4. Gennett is aboard with 1 out. Well, last night we had a scary situation here at the ballpark. It's a terrific photographer that works a lot of pro sporting events here in Atlanta, Scott Cunningham. He was injured on a batted ball from Scooter Gennett.
Yikes.
16 stitches.
I didn't realize that was Scott that got hit.
He's back at it today.
Yep.
So glad to see he's all right, back to work. Talked to him before the game tonight. Says he feels better than he looks after getting hit last night. You got to be tough to be in that camera well. Remember earlier this year, Kelsey Wingert was hit by a thrown ball.
And Kelsey had glasses on too. Doctors say the frames may have actually helped her.
Jeanette doesn't run too often. He's attempted one and successfully stolen one base this year. As the calendar moves toward late June and into July, he takes off, gets a big jump, and throw to second will be way late. They are taking advantage of Anibal Sanchez's delivery to the plate. And their second steal of the game.
You can see they're getting good 3 or 4 steps by the time Anibal even releases the baseball. No chance for Tyler.
One ball, one strike. Lifted to right field, pretty deep. Markakis back to the middle of the warning track. He's there. Jeanette will tag and stride to third base after Suarez flies out. 2 away, and Winker will be the hitter.
Seems to me Greg Maddux didn't pay a whole lot of attention to runners at first either. If they stole, they stole. He wasn't going to let it affect or change the way he was pitching.
No, I mean, he kind of subscribed to the you can't steal first theory too. And if a guy got over there, yeah, he'd get some different looks and whatever. But when he made up in mind he was going to make a pitch, he was going to make, good mechanics and do his thing and make a good pitch. Because, the last thing you wanted, okay, hey, that guy didn't steal, but you just hurried and you hit one in the gap, so he didn't have to steal.
Right.
So Jesse Winker has one of the 2 Reds hits in the game. He's a rookie, and he's in the top 10 in rookies batting average. He's 5th in rookie RBIs, 2nd in multi-hit games, 3rd in hits, 5th in runs, and more walks than any rookie in the National League this year. And a broken bat. He dives. Throw to first is wild and past first. A good throw would have gotten Winker, and it would have been a miraculous play. Instead, it's an infield hit, and Cincinnati scores the first run of the night.
This is crazy about how things turn out. He got a base hit to the left to second base with a big shift on for him last time up. So they moved Dansby over on that side of second, and he hits it right about where Dansby was playing his first time up. Great effort by Ozzie. And he did what he had to do, and that just get up and throw the daylights out of it.
So the Reds strike first on Winker's second hit. Now Duvall, the batter, he struck out his first time. And promptly pops the next one up and headed for the seats. And out of play. Duvall's a local kid from Louisville. First University of Louisville player to make it to the All-Star game. And a real inspirational story. 6 years ago, Duvall was diagnosed with diabetes. No balls and a strike. Camargo hugs the line at third. The pitch lifted toward right, shallowly hit, and playable for Markakis. So Cincinnati gets a walk from Sanchez, a stolen base, and an infield hit makes it 1-0 in Matt Harvey's favor in the 4th. Fly ball on the first pitch. At the wall, it is gone!
Number 17 for Mr. Ozzy Albies on the season. You guys, he has had a phenomenal year, and we're going to keep telling you, you need to vote for these guys. If you go to Braves.com/vote, 3 guys on this current roster are leading their positions in voting. Ozzy Albies has about 300,000 more votes over Baez with the Cubs, and we know that fan base is going to show up. Freddie Freeman, over 2 million votes. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. Keep it up. Braves.com/vote for your Braves.
All right, Kelsey, so it'll be Ozzy, Freddie, and Nick Markakis leading off the Atlanta fourth. Matt Harvey's got a 1-run lead. Albies lined out his first time, and he lines this one toward right. It is a foul ball. Strike one. Here's tonight's Bringing His Best feature, brought to you by Old Dominion, the official freight carrier of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, he's hit in 7 straight, 15 for 33 coming in that 7-game streak, and just keeps piling on the extra base hits.
First in extras, runs, total bases, and doubles in National League play, and has 3 or more hits in 3 consecutive games. That's a dramatic improvement for Ozzy, who's in the throes of about a 20-25 game dry spell at the plate. So Harvey's ahead of him. No balls, 2 strikes. And he just hit him with an 0-2 pitch. So Dansby Swanson has a single on an 0-2 count. Ozzy gets plunked on an 0-2 pitch. The question now is, where did it get him?
Like the back leg, maybe in the knee. Nope, foot on the instep. Ow,
That hurts.
didn't bounce either. Giving him time to get some feeling back in there and walk it off. Tough kid. Like he's going to stay in the game. A couple of strikeouts so far for Matt Harvey on 2 left-handed hitters. Freddie Freeman, Johan Camargo, switch hitter, batting left-handed. Virtually the same pitch. Little slider. Camargo's was a little more down, but rode it in on him. Good pitch there to him. See if he tries to stay with that same formula, because he just hit Ozzy with that pitch in the foot.
Yep. So he was trying to do and held on a little too long.
Line drive and a base hit on the first pitch for Freddie. Ozzy around second. He's going to take third. Here comes the throw that way. It's going to be late. Freddie ambushes a first pitch for Matt Harvey, and the tying run 90 feet away with nobody out.
Told you he's a tough kid. Goes first to third on that rocket to right field. Winker's got a good arm. Stake up with the fastball, and Ozzy still able to make it around to third.
So again, on this entire homestand, the Braves are getting their chances with runners in scoring position. They haven't had a particularly great run of big hits. Last night, as Tom mentioned, neither team did good work at the plate with men at second or third. Atlanta was 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Here's Nick's first chance to get this game tied. And a strike.
I guess they've been so good. It's almost hard to believe they're going to continue that pace all year long. They're going to have some ebbs and flow, but I guess the important part is keep giving yourself the chances. You know, you keep having those opportunities. Sooner or later, it's going to go back the other way, and you're going to start cashing in again.
Freeman at first, Albies at third. Harvey stretches and pitches. And it's off the pitcher's glove. Now Albies in a rundown. He tries to dive back to third, and he's going to be tagged out. If Harvey doesn't knock that down, it's in center field, and the game is tied. Instead, Ozzie on contact got trapped and got thrown out for the first out at third base.
A whole host of things could have happened right there. If he doesn't catch that ball, obviously it's up the middle, base hit, run scores, but it could have been a double play.
Yeah.
If he'd have held on to it, could have doubled Ozzie up. But good presence by Matt to gather himself and get Ozzie at third.
Might have been a triple play because
might have.
Freddie was going.
But you've still got a tying run in scoring position. However, it cost you an out. And Tyler Flowers, the batter, he flied out his first time. Two hard hit balls by the Braves this inning, and another hard hit ball. This one to straightaway center, curling away from Schebler. He turns the wrong way. It's off the base of the wall. One run scores. Flowers has a double, and we are tied. Man, are the Braves getting after Harvey early in the count after the Albies hit by pitch. Second and third, one out, 1-1 game.
This ball was crushed, and he lined out to right his last time up. Remember, he's been going through a rough time. He was 0 for 12 before this, and Schebler turned about the wrong way about 3 times. Look at Nick, though. Nick read it all the way that there was no way he was going to catch it. He was just waiting for the go sign from Ron Washington, but a good quick throw back in by Schebler saved that.
So 15 RBIs for Flowers, second and third, 1 in, 1 out, and Charlie Culberson, the batter, he walked his first time. So the second time through the order, giving Harvey some trouble. The pitch is off the plate, ball 1. As we told you, Washington lost earlier today in Tampa. Yankees put 6 runs on Jake Arrieta tonight, who's had a very rough month of June for the Phillies. One ball, no strikes. Little number back toward Harvey in front of the mound, and there's the second out.
It's funny, but this second and third and less than 2 outs is the spot that's been cramping the Braves. Infield back, willing to concede that 1 run, but can't get the ground ball or a fly ball to get them in.
Well, the Braves just wanted to get to 2 outs where they've scored 143 runs this year. Here's Camargo's chance.
It's all about getting to your comfort spot.
Yep.
Johan struck out in the second and third, 2 outs. Swanson on deck. First pitch swing and a fly ball toward left. And Duvall says he's got it, and Harvey pitches out of a giant mess. Freddie Freeman scores the game tying run. We go to the 5th. On our Xfinity cam here at SunTrust Park, 4 complete. Game tied 1-1 between the Braves and the Reds. Cincinnati has the 8, 9, and 1 hitters coming up here in Game 2. Anibal Sanchez has struck out 5. He scattered 3 hits, and an infield hit has scored the lone Cincinnati run. That came in their half of the 4th inning. Fifth inning brought to you by Audi Q5. Peraza single and a stolen base. He was stranded in the Reds' 3rd. Both clubs have left 3 on base tonight.
Now I know Baltimore, when they were just in town, stayed at the new Omni Hotel, right?
Yes.
But were they the first? As far as we know,
I believe so. I know they stayed there.
Well, I think there will be a ton of teams in there next year. Great hotel, and the Orioles were bragging on it because of the proximity and because of everything that's available to people in the Battery.
You don't have to go far to eat. You don't have to go far to work.
Nope.
Not a bad spot.
Or swim.
No.
2 balls and a strike. And Sanchez turns it loose, and Peraza drives it toward left center field. Ender on the run, still sprinting, not going to get it. It's off the wall. And Peraza around second is going to try for 3. The throw misses the cutoff man, and Peraza has a leadoff triple. His first 3-base hit of the year, and that's how the 5th inning starts for Cincinnati.
Is it really? Surprised. Cincinnati's pretty good triples park from left center to right center.
Thought Ender was going to get a beat on that ball, but it just kept running away from him.
So now Atlanta's infield will play in for Harvey, who showed bunt on the first pitch in the 3rd inning, then flied out to center shortly thereafter. A swing and a miss. Harvey 2 for 23 at the plate this year with 8 strikeouts. He really did an amazing job in that 4th inning of getting out of a giant mess. The Braves could have easily scored 3 or 4 runs last half inning, but he held the damage to 1 on the Flowers double. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Braves couldn't do anything else.
Tell you, only 8 strikeouts. Those 23 at bats. That's not bad either. He's putting the ball in play quite a bit.
Puts it in play this time on the infield. Who wants it? It'll be Freddie Freeman. And I want to compliment my partner Tom Glavine for the remarkable restraint he showed, because it was there on a tee and he let it sail right on by, as the very athletic Matt Harvey is the first out.
Only for the home guys.
Attaboy. So back to the top. Here's Schebler. Beware the first pitch.
I don't think he's seen a first pitch so far that he hasn't liked.
Swung at the first pitch every time last night, and so far tonight, same thing. And had a homer and a double to show for it last night.
Schebler getting the start in center tonight. Billy Hamilton has the night off, but would be available if needed late. And he takes a pitch that was called a ball. 1-0 the count. Line drive into left center field. That's going to put Cincinnati in front. Charlie cuts it off. 360 spin. His throw to second is going to be a shade late. And the Reds, with a couple of extra base hits here in the 5th inning, take a 2-1 lead.
Talked about their 2 outfielders, Schebler and Winker, when this series started. Actually, we're talking about them before they even got to town. These 2 guys can hit. They got Schebler in a trade. They drafted Winker. 2 good-looking players.
So Schebler with his 30th RBI, hitting leadoff for the 12th consecutive game. He's got a hit now in 9 of his last 10 outings. And Tucker Barnhart, the Cincinnati catcher, stands in 0 for 2. But a chance to add to what is now a 2-1 Cincinnati game.
He has been victimized twice by the off-speed pitches. One on a strikeout in the first inning, and then on the real slow off-speed pitch in the third, and got another one there, swing and a miss. At some point, you think you're going to look for it.
Yeah, that's a good pitch. Runner in scoring position. He's aggressive. Off-speed pitch.
To right. And playable for Nick. There's the catch. Runner tags. Here comes the throw. It will be cut off. And that's the second out. Barnhart's retired. And here's Joey Votto. You want Votto or do you want Scooter Gennett here?
Tough choice.
As good as Scooter's been, I'm taking my chances with him.
Well, if they do walk him, Tom, we will let you know.
Yeah, please let me know.
Votto 0 for 2. Bounced out to first, struck out in the fourth, and was none too pleased about that last time to the plate. Grounded foul, strike one.
I don't know what just happened there with Anibal, but he's doing a lot of stretching.
That's not a good sign.
No.
Remember, it was a hamstring problem that crept up on Sanchez. He was running sprints in the outfield here, and his hamstring went south, and he went to the disabled list.
Looks like he's testing his calf or something. So the last thing the Braves need.
Right.
Mike Foltynewicz just came off the disabled list. Mike Soroka just went back on the disabled list.
But says he's okay. Just going to stretch, and his pitch count is very manageable. Yeah, I think you're right, Tom. Like his calf muscle.
Could have a little cramp or something.
We'll get a couple of tosses to make sure everything's sound.
That didn't look good.
Nope.
No.
He's shaking his head.
What a crime.
So Anibal Sanchez has a leg injury of some sort after he threw a pitch to Joey Votto, and he has to leave here in the fifth inning. So after 4 2/3, Sanchez is done, and the oft-used Braves bullpen is going to have to suck up a lot more innings than they hoped tonight. We'll update you on what's happening on the field in just a moment.
At Rooms to Go, you can go any way you want. Go style, go savings, go today.
Beautiful moon over SunTrust Park tonight. And it'll be Matt Whistler coming on in relief of Anibal Sanchez, who had to depart because of injury here in the top of the 5th inning.
Matt was just called up today for his 4th time with the big club after Lucas Sims was sent back. And this was just exactly what he was brought up to do, and that is pitch long relief. If a pitcher got knocked out, or in this case of an injury, he's been starting at Gwinnett, and the last time he pitched was against Columbus, 3 innings, and that was 4 days ago. Gave up 4 hits and a run, struck out 2.
But what a crying shame, as well as Anibal was pitching tonight, for him to depart trailing in this ball game, and for Atlanta all of a sudden a rotation that on the last homestand was so good, so efficient, so durable, all of a sudden they're not going deep in the games. This time it's injury, and the Braves bullpen, which we talked about in our opening comments, they have to work overtime again against Cincinnati with a quick turnaround tomorrow, a 12 o'clock game.
Well, you know, the key to this whole situation, as Joe said, is what Matt Whistler was brought here for in the first place, and he's going to have to log some innings tonight. I mean, you know, we talked about how many innings the bullpen's been asked to cover here over the course of the last 6 games, and you know, unfortunately, with Anibal going down right now, you know, Matt's job right now is to get this thing as deep into the game as he possibly can and try to save at least a couple of guys down there.
Well, let's hope so, because as Brian Snitker has said, they're on fumes right now. And if you miss those opening comments, he's been trying real hard to, like a chess match, trying to use a couple of guys a night, not overuse anybody for risk of injury. And that's not been easy to do because the starters haven't been getting deep into ball games for the most part.
So as soon as we find out what's ailing Anibal Sanchez and have an idea of the severity of his discomfort, we'll be sure to pass that along, as Whistler faces Joey Votto and Scooter Gennett with a run in, a man at second, and 2 outs.
His last 3 at Gwinnett have been really good for Matt. 14 innings, only 2 earned runs and 2 walks, and he struck out 15 in those 4 innings. So that's good work by Matt Whistler, who every time he comes up, we say the same thing about Matt. He's got the stuff to pitch here. It's a matter of Matt believing that he's got the stuff to pitch here.
Yeah, no question. I think I don't want to sound mean when I say this, but I mean, I think he is one of those guys that he is his own worst enemy at times. He's got to start to believe in what everybody else sees his potential being, and he's just got to go out there and, you know, let it happen and stop being so hard on yourself and so analytical at times. Just go out there and let it happen.
So he inherits an 0-1 count to Joey Votto, runner at third, 2 outs, 2-1 Cincinnati. Matt will work out of the stretch here with Schebler at third base, and that's off the plate for an even count.
This is it's a tough spot. Sometimes guys will kind of play mind games with themselves in this situation. They say, okay, who's he like in the International League? Okay, it'll be like pitching to that guy. No, it's not.
If there's a guy that's like Joey Votto in the International League, I want to know who he plays for, and I want the Major League General Manager fired because he should not be in the International League.
Well, I'm thinking about it from a hitter's perspective too, that when you would go up there, somebody would say, okay, he's a lot like so-and-so. And then you get up there and you realize, no, this guy's a lot better than so-and-so.
2 balls, 1 strike. Wind blowing toward left. And Matt brings it, and Votto hits it to right. But Nick Markakis is there, and Whistler takes care of Votto, who's 0 for 3. It's only a 1-run game. Cincinnati leads it 2-1 your score.
The Braves are really trying to gain some ground in the NL East. They have a good chance right now because you have the Phillies playing the Yankees and you have the Nats playing the Rays. So let's get you out to Tampa with our T-Mobile built for baseball. We'll get you to the top of the ninth. Bases loaded. Rays up 1-0. Sergio Romo strikes out Michael A. Taylor to end the game, and that's when things get interesting. So Romo then starts yelling at Taylor, which apparently stems from Taylor stealing a base when the teams met 3 weeks ago. The bench is clear, no punches thrown, and oh yeah, the Rays, well, they shut out the Nats for the second day in a row. Right now, the Braves have a 3.5 game lead over the Phillies, who are currently losing, and a 4.5 game lead over the Nationals, guys.
So, Kelsey, ground to be gained for Atlanta if they can come back and win this one tonight. Swanson, Whistler, and Inciarte, the trio up against Matt Harvey. And he missed off the plate for Dansby, who took advantage of a fat pitch on a 2-strike count and singled his first time up.
Washington Nationals have been shut out 7 times this month. They were shut out 7 times all of last year.
It's just really hard to believe.
Scherzer's lost 3 in a row, I think.
I think it's time they trade him.
Yep.
How about Tampa Bay, by the way? Kevin Cash and the Tampa Bay Rays are now 39-40 in the American League East. The Tampa Bay Rays have won 5 in a row. They swept the Yankees, they just swept Washington, and they're 7-5 in a stretch of games that have them playing the Yankees, Washington, and the Astros. Anybody see that coming?
Nope.
A little pop into shallow right, and that'll carry out to Winker, who's got it. There's the first out.
They also got Kevin Kiermaier back. That helps him in center field and in the leadoff spot. They had him in center and Malik Smith in right today.
And they've got Blake Snell in their rotation. That guy is awfully good. Oh, flash of lightning out beyond the center field scoreboard. Big thundercloud growing off in the distance here tonight.
It's like Mount Rainier just grew out there.
Yeah.
Ground ball hit towards second, and Fano will get to the bag in time. Whistler's the second out. Mount Rainier is fine. Mount St. Helens not so much.
Not so much.
And back to the top of the order, and Ender Inciarte. Arizona leads in Miami 4-2 tonight. Miami beat them 9-5 yesterday. Marlins 12-11 this month. Don Mattingly is doing an excellent job of trying to keep the rebuilding Marlins afloat. Amazing stat about the state of the East. Miami tanking, rebuilding, whatever term you want to use. Hitters play tonight 32-47. The New York Mets, who are trying to win, are 31-45.
Well, from the Marlins standpoint, with all those new players, it's going to take a while for everybody to kind of get their feet under them and figure out what they were supposed to do.
Fly ball hammered toward right center field. That ball is caught on the track by Schebler, who made a fine running grab. And that takes care of Ender and the Braves in the 5th inning. Matt Harvey's qualified for the win. He leads by a run. It's 2-1.
Let's go places. And by SunTrust. Confidence starts here.
2-1 after 5. Game 2, Reds and Braves. Here in Atlanta, Anibal Sanchez had to leave after 4 2/3 innings. Matt Whistler came on in the 5th inning, got Joey Votto to fly out. And now he'll start his first full inning of work with 4, 5, and 6 hitters coming up. And Scooter Gennett has struck out, walked, stolen a base, and scored. Let's general manage along with the Cincinnati Reds and their new GM Nick Krall. Is Scooter Gennett a Cincinnati Red on August 1st?
I would listen. I don't know what they've got in the middle infield in their minor leagues. Peraza has played second base before, but he's kind of establishing himself at shortstop. But I would certainly listen if it makes them better. Maybe Milwaukee will call.
Isn't that something? They just said, well, can't use your Scooter, and Cincinnati scooped him up. And he might turn himself into an all-star player as a Red with the first half he's put together.
Yeah, you definitely have to listen, but just like we talked about last night, they haven't had a whole lot of return when they've gotten rid of these kinds of players.
Fly ball toward right. That's over Markakis' head and up against the padding. Well played, but dropped not once but twice. And Gennett will stand at second with a double to lead off inning number 6. 18 two-base hits for Gennett.
Isn't this the way? I mean, he hits this ball hard, but Nick put himself in a perfect position to play the carom off the wall. He knows how to play it there. And it hits right at the base of the wall and stays down low. He's looking for a big bounce off the warning track, and then it's stick a fork in it.
And you could see the grimace by Markakis when he finally got a handle on the ball. He was thinking about throwing him out.
Oh, yeah.
But no chance for that. So here's Suarez. He is 0 for 2 tonight, 1 for 5 in the series. And a ground ball hit towards short. Dansby's throw to first in time. Productive out. Gennett 90 feet away for Winker, who's 2 for 2.
This is a little bit of Jim Riggleman influence you're seeing. You know, tonight, the way they're playing, moving guys over, getting them in.
Tell you, that guy's a heck of a manager. Full-time jobs in Chicago, full-time job in San Diego. He's been an interim manager 4 times, which tells you how good of a skipper he is. He's taken over for Brian Price in Cincinnati, and he's got the Reds playing very competitive baseball. And that's not an easy job. I mean, what do you say to a team that was so far below 500 when you take over and you walk into that room after one of your good friends and one of the real good people in the game is let go? I asked Jim that yesterday, and he said, basically, I said, guys, we're not just going to go through the motions here. We're going to do some things differently. And the only way to dig out of this is to do some things differently. And they have.
And for a guy who's been around, and he's old school, he's new wave, he can help a lot of young players. He's talking to Blandino there, doing a little coaching while they're standing there, talking about how probably Suarez moved that runner up, gave himself up. A little teaching moment. But one thing's for sure, Jim Riggleman was not going to come in, take this job, and just stand pat. They were going to work hard. They were going to come out early and go through things.
Well, I will say this too for Jim. Not only is he a good man and a good manager, he's a man of principle. You might remember he was the manager of the Nationals, and the Nationals were dreadful when he took over on an interim basis. did for them, what he's doing for the Reds now. He had a run of 11 wins and 12 tries, something like that, and Jim Riggleman felt that it was time that the Nationals address his contract situation. Washington wasn't ready to do that, and Jim said, all right, I'm done. And he walked away from a major league job. And there were some who thought he signed his final epitaph as being a major league manager as a result of that. Well, that wasn't the case. Jim, after that 2011 season, went back to the minor leagues. As that ball's in the dirt and no advance. He did some coaching around the major leagues, but eventually wanted to manage again. And he called the Reds and said, look, if there's an opportunity in the organization someplace, give me a call. And Walt Jocketty about a month later said, yep, there is. And Jim Riggleman, with all of his managerial experience, went back to Pensacola and managed the Double-A Reds. Then when Brian Price's staff needed a shakeup, he came back to the major league staff and now finds himself in his 13th managerial season, this time as an interim skipper with the Reds. Infield in with a 2-2 pitch, fouled away. And Joe, you've known Jim pretty much your whole baseball life. You played with this guy.
I was there the day Jim showed up in Double-A after being drafted by the Dodgers in the 4th round, and played with him. That's where I got to know him, find out what he was all about and how he played the game. He played hard.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Winker is retired. Big out.
96.
And Winker's asking if it was a strike. It clearly was. 2 down.
That was rearing back for a little extra there. Good pitch.
Tom, have you ever heard Joe tell the story of Jim Riggleman's first game as a professional player?
I don't think I have.
It's a beauty.
2 outs in the inning. I'll get to it in a minute.
That's what we call a tease, folks. You don't want to miss it. Here's Duvall with a runner at third, and now 2 outs. This is a big out to get. Braves start to shift for Duvall, who struck out and flied out. One ball, no strikes. Good breaking ball, even count. Three defenders left side of the infield for Adam Duvall. The pitch, and he lines it over the shortstop's head into left field for a big 2-out hit. That extends the Reds' lead to 3-1. So the Braves were that close to getting out of the inning, but Duvall knocks in his 44th run. Scooter Gennett scores. First run allowed by Whistler in relief tonight.
Yeah, that's another thing about Duvall. Despite the fact that he came in hitting .203, still has 12 homers and now 44 RBIs. He's getting some key hits for them.
So Matt Harvey with a 2-run advantage now. Here's Peraza. He singled, stolen a base, tripled, and scored. So the bottom of the Reds order is doing to the Braves what Atlanta's bottom part has done this whole homestand. Winker 2 hits, Duvall an RBI single, Peraza 2 knocks and a run scored. To center. Ender on the run is going to get there. Cincinnati a run on 2 hits, a 2-out single by Adam Duvall. Albies, Freeman, and Markakis go to work for Atlanta in what's now a 2-run Reds game. Guys could care less. Thumbs up on the dog here at SunTrust Park. 3-1 Cincinnati has the lead. Braves are coming up in the 6th. Right guys at the right time. It starts with Ozzie Albies, our SunTrust confidence play.
Only one other guy with more extra base hits than Ozzie Albies and Jose Ramirez, and that's Eduardo Escobar, Minnesota, who has 47. Ozzie and Nick Markakis, I believe, tied at 25 in the double department in the National League.
Let
the
me
league lead.
Check that for you. Doubles. Yep, 25 apiece. And we'll take a couple of doubles right here. That'd be a nice thing. So let's see what Ozzie can do. He's lined out. He's been hit by a pitch. And he was caught in that unfortunate rundown in the 4th inning as Nick Markakis smoked a ball that Harvey got a glove on. And Ozzie was in no man's land and thrown out at third base. So Harvey a 2-run lead. Look how economically he's worked. Just 54 pitches through 5 innings. And number 55 is banged foul at first. We haven't forgotten about the Jim Riggleman story. His first pro game.
I forget what the small college he was from.
Frostburg State.
Thank you. He signed out of 4th-round pick, went straight to Double-A. And the Dodgers Double-A team was in Waterbury, Connecticut, Eastern League, and we were playing the Pirates in a town called Thetford Mines, which is south of Quebec City. You've been to Quebec City?
Yes.
Way up there in the province. First time the Dodgers went in there, they hadn't mowed the field since the fall before. Nobody had even been over there. So we sat in the hotel for 3 days and watched it snow. We went back. They'd carved out a field, just really primitive. They put up a fence and some bleachers, and we had a dress at the hotel. The restrooms were at the end of the dugout in a porta potty.
Sharply hit. Past Votto, a leadoff hit for Ozzie with 2 strikes.
So Jim Riggleman's first experience in pro ball, he's in a cab trying to get to the ballpark at Thetford Mines, and the cabbie had no idea where it was because it was new. He's driving around, and Jim finally saw the lights at the ballpark, and he said, "Just let me out." So here comes Jim Riggleman carrying his suitcase and his duffel bag with his baseball gear into a ballpark to meet his new team, and got dressed in the porta potty.
His first game as a pro. I love that story.
Welcome to pro ball.
Yeah.
Really glamorous.
Yeah. Not a good start. Here's Freddie. Runner at first, nobody out. 3-1 game. And a good cut by Freeman. And fouled back. It's a strike.
I say that all the time now. You look at some of these ballparks that these college teams are playing in, and then these kids sign and go play minor league ball. They're probably walking in there going, "What is this?"
Yeah. I didn't know I was going to have to take a step down.
Yeah.
Freddie's choked up ever so slightly against Harvey. Ozzie a good lead. And a swing and a miss. It's 0-2.
Great swing in the 4th inning with that line drive base hit. Struck out in the 1st. He has 14 strikeouts in his last 7 games plus 2 at bats. It's one of those spells for Freddie, but a good sign last AB.
With this shift on for Freeman by Cincinnati, we've not seen him try to punch a ball through the left side. Occasionally, when Freddie's in some of those strikeout stretches, he'll lay down a bunt. Tough to do with 2 strikes. As he took a shot to left that time and fouled it away.
As hard as Harvey throws, if it's early in the count, you can think about put a mindset that you're going to go the other way and beat the shift. But if you've got 2 strikes on you, as hard as he throws, you can't think that way. You've got to be able to react a little quicker.
Straighten him up inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's a warm night Reds wearing their road gray uniform tops, and as we take a look at Matt Harvey, you can see he is soaked through that shirt.
Ozzie Albies has got to be a tough cuss because he spends more time diving and bouncing on the ground than anybody.
1-2 pitch in the dirt. Nice stop by Barnhart. If he doesn't get that, Ozzie's at second at the very least.
Nice play.
Barnhart, a Gold Glover, just one error last year behind the plate. That's remarkable. Now it's 2-2 for Freeman. The pitch. Out of play. And with each passing pitch, one thinks Freddie's getting a better look at Matt Harvey here. Full count. So let's manage along with Brian Snitker here.
I send him.
I send him anytime. I don't care if Freddie's struck out a few times lately or not. That's Freddie Freeman at the plate.
You know, Ozzie would like to make Harvey pay for that hit batsman. He's got a good lead. He's going. And it's fouled at the plate.
Ozzie got hit in the foot with a pitch too that may have slowed him down a little bit.
And then Peraza just hit him in the head. See that?
Yeah.
Playful slap at second base. Reds bullpen starting to play catch now. As Harvey comes set again, Albies leads. Off he goes, and the pitch is hit a mile high to the left side of the infield. It'll be Suarez, the third baseman, and Freeman's retired for the first out. Stay tuned for the middle of the seventh inning. It's the stretch presented by Rooms to Go. Here's Markakis.
Michael Lorenzen, who worked last night, loosening up in the Reds pen.
Matt Harvey's spot is due first in the Cincinnati seventh. We did not see Amir Garrett last night after working the last two games of their series with the Cubs. One would think he would be available tonight. He's been tough. Right now it's Harvey's game, ahead by 2 runs with Markakis. And Albies the runner at first now with 1 out. And taken low. Again, the Reds have a big shift on. Whole left side of the infield's available for Nick if he could guide one that way. Much easier said than done against Harvey, who's pitching great. Maybe his best game against the Braves in a long time, maybe in a couple years.
And only 1 walk tonight.
Runner goes. Line drive to second. That's going to be a double play. And the Braves out of luck in the 6th inning. Markakis has had no luck at all. 2 bullets and he's 0 for 3. There's a good-looking camo cap here at SunTrust Park, where big crowds watched Matt Harvey pitch a terrific game for Cincinnati. He's through 6 innings, allowing just 1 run and 4 hits. And Harvey, with a very low pitch count, is going to stay in the game. Why not? We'll start the 7th inning with Schebler and Barnhart to follow.
Yeah, throwing the ball well. Middle part of the order coming up. Pretty efficient with his pitches.
And be still our beating heart. We have a chance to see a starting pitcher maybe go 7 innings or more in tonight's game. Anibal Sanchez had a shot at that before he left after 4 2/3 innings due to injury. No word on specifically what took him out of the game in the 5th. And Harvey's down on strikes. Whistler's 2nd strikeout of the game. That's starting his 2nd full inning of relief, and 1 away. Schebler has an RBI double in 3 trips. That came in his last at bat. Braves and Reds wrap up the series here tomorrow. A quick turnaround. First pitch at 12:10. Braves live at 11:30. It's Luis Castillo and Sean Newcomb. Sean's looking for his 9th win.
I'm looking forward to seeing him pitch. I haven't seen him live this year, but for me, he's really turned the corner.
Popped up right behind the plate. Flowers gives chase. To the screen he goes and has just enough room.
Imagine that first pitch, too.
Yeah. 1 more out. We're headed to the stretch, presented by Rooms to Go. Barnhart, the man standing in the way. Well, Tom, you're really going to appreciate the pitch that's made the difference for Newcomb, and that's your specialty, that changeup.
Yeah. I mean, it was a pitch that I think it was pretty obvious last year he needed to add, give him something going away from righties, but also I just still think it's really hard to have really rely on a breaking ball all the time as your best secondary pitch. So to have that other option, I think it's just a great addition for him.
When you go to spring training and either sit in the bullpen or watch side sessions, whatever the case might be, how much do you offer one-on-one, or is it usually through Chuck, the pitching coach? How does that work?
Yeah, I usually will go and just kind of hang around and try to initially and just kind of get a feel for the guys and who likes to talk and who's, you know, open about it. And, you know, then I'll go sit in the bullpen with Chuck and I'll watch guys. And if, you know, I'll usually, hey, you mind if I offer something? And Chuck's great about it. And the guys are usually receptive about it. And, you know, it's fun. And this year I went and spent a day and a half or so with Kobe Allard and, you know, watched him throw a minor league game and then spent some time with him on his side session. So, you know, it's, for me, that's fun, going and talking to those guys and trying to, you know, find a thing or two maybe to add to help them kind of make that jump or make that ascent a little bit faster is fun.
Well, you're pretty good too at, I would say, not just evaluating physically, but getting in their head a little bit too, to see how they work.
Yeah, see how they work, and I kind of like asking them questions about, you know, think about what you're doing when you get on the mound. It's not just all right, I got to do this, I got to throw. It's have a purpose. What are you trying to do? Why'd that pitch go where you wanted it to? Why didn't it? You know, what are you? Sorry,
base hit by Barnhart.
What are you thinking about when you're trying to do that? Make that pitch. You know, things of that nature. That, you know, quite honestly, when I was that age, I didn't think that way. I didn't. Oh, okay, what pitch do I want to throw? Okay, let me try and throw it. All right, what happened? I don't know. You know, I had no idea. Yeah. So I think the more, it's like we talk about all the time with having a veteran presence around these guys, the more you can kind of get them to think about stuff like that they don't typically think about and probably haven't had to because they're just so much better than everybody in their young portions of their career, the better, because they're going to become their own coach and they can make their own adjustments faster.
Line drive by Votto on the first pitch toward Culberson in left. He's got it. And the side is retired. 3-1 Cincinnati. It's time for the stretch.
The stretch is brought to you by Rooms to Go.
Welcome to the stretch. Jerome and Brian out here on the Fox Sports set in the heart of the Battery. And BJ, we are watching two of the best second basemen in the National League. If you were with us in the pregame show, you saw us compare Ozzie Albies at this young age to the gold standard of second baseman Jose Altuve of the Astros. But when you look in the National League, you have two guys right now, either one of them could be starting at second base in the All-Star game. Ozzie is leading, thankfully, but these are two of the better guys.
I'll tell you what, Scooter Gennett has really jumped on the map this year. He has been a very consistent player for Cincinnati. Had a chance to talk to Jim Riggleman before the ball game, and Jim loves this guy. Ever since he just said, you guys are going to be in the lineups every day, just go out there and play. Seems like those guys are having a fantastic time.
Well, as you can see, he leads the National League with that .331 average. When you look at Scooter Gennett, you don't think about it, but he could be the MVP of the Reds this year.
Oh, no question about it, and that's saying a lot when you're beating out Votto there. But you know what? This guy has been consistent. You look at those numbers. It's not just singles or doubles. This guy is hitting for powers. He's driving in runs, and he's scoring a lot of runs for Cincinnati.
Yeah, Gennett and Suarez both could be going to D.C. for the All-Star game. Before we get you back upstairs, a quick word from our friends at Rooms to Go.
Check out the new leather collections at Rooms to Go. Great looks, great styles, and of course, great prices. Only at Rooms to Go.
3-1 Cincinnati as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Matt Harvey back to work for the Reds. Flowers, Culberson, and Camargo are coming up for Atlanta in what has been the magical time of a game for the Braves most of this year. Atlanta with 143 runs from the 7th inning on and 30 homers. The Braves last night got a 7th inning and 11th inning run to steal a 5-4 victory last evening. Got word, fellas, on Anibal Sanchez and what's bothering him. It doesn't sound like it's all that serious. Good news, apparently a precautionary move because of a cramp in his right calf.
Well, that's good news.
It is.
Hate to see a guy leave a game under any circumstances, but hopefully that's a quick turnaround.
Well, the longest Matt Harvey's pitched this year in any game is 6 innings. So he's in uncharted 2018 territory.
But 69 pitches through 6. And number 70 is right back to the mound. And there's the first out.
One of the things that sometimes plays in the favor of an opposing pitcher, I would think, Tom, is knowing the Braves are first pitch fastball guys. They like to get after that first one. It might work to your favor, and it has tonight for Harvey.
No, it can. Look, and when you're facing a team that's ultra aggressive, which the Braves are, you know, you got a chance to have a pretty efficient game if you are able to execute pitches early in the count. You know, there's always that danger that you don't, or that danger that you try to pitch away from contact early in the count because you know they're swinging, and then you tend to get behind a little bit more and pitch from behind kind of thing. But I think Matt's done a good job tonight of you know, pitching to contact early in the count, and when he's gotten an opportunity to strike guys out, he's put them away.
Well, I think it's safe to say the Reds would be delighted if Harvey could pitch like he has the last 2 games. Coming off a 6-inning, 5-hit, 2-run game against the Cubs. Tonight, 6+ and out. 1 run, 4 hits.
Well, like we said, the word we got was that his last game was a little bit of a turning point, that the velocity was back. He looked more comfortable, and today seems to be an extension of that. So I think they've got to be thrilled to see this kind of stuff and velocity, you know, results aside. They got to be thrilled to see this kind of stuff, velocity and all that, in back-to-back starts.
2 balls and a strike, and a line drive into left field will bring the tying run to the plate. Charlie Culberson with a big knock, and Johan Camargo's coming up. So as we told you, this is where it's gotten exciting for the Braves. Our Zaxby's indescribably good play is Atlanta's late offense.
Yeah, you can't change the channel once it gets to the 7th inning if the Braves are playing, because they could pull off anything after what we saw them do to Miami one Sunday afternoon.
So Camargo digs in. Harvey turns it loose and misses up and away. And it's in for a strike.
Last time he went 6 1/3 or better was April 21st last year against Washington. He went 7 innings. And it's only the 3rd time since the start of 2017 to go 6 1/3 or better.
Well, I'm not going to say that Matt Harvey is going to end up in the Hall of Fame, but you might recall the New York Mets in 1977 traded a pretty good right-handed pitcher to the Reds by the name of Tom Seaver. In that first year, he won 14 games as a Red, 21 overall. Cincinnati would be delighted if history repeated itself with Matt Harvey. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a swinging bunt foul. Still alive is Camargo.
He's not just doing it with his fastball tonight, Tom. He's using everything.
No, I mean, and again, we had heard that his slider was really good last time out. It has been tonight. He's used it pretty effectively, particularly for a strikeout pitch on lefties. But he's mixed in that changeup too, to down and away to lefties to keep them honest on that side of the plate, so that he can go back and attack the inside part of the plate.
Short lead by Charlie. The pitch is hit to the left side, and that squirts through. So the Braves have 2 runners on with 1 out. Camargo guides one between Peraza and Suarez. And now Dansby Swanson's coming up, and the Reds brain trust starts to pace and ponder in the third base dugout.
You know, as we're watching this, Barnhart wanted a high fastball. Try to see if Johan would chase. He didn't get it up enough, and he got it in the middle of the plate. Camargo comes through.
Well, Dansby's had his share of troubles historically with Matt Harvey, coming in 1 for 10 tonight, but he does have a hit in 2 tries this evening. Danny Santana is in the on deck circle, and barring a double play, he'll come up for Matt Whistler. Dansby's done some good work with runners on and with runners in scoring position. Let's see what he can do here with Harvey about to make his 80th pitch. Good cut, but didn't get the slider. A hard slider at 90. $28,356 on hand tonight, hoping for another late night comeback by the Braves at home. Atlanta 24-17 here at SunTrust Park. The 0-1 pitch. Barnhart stabs that and saves it. 1-1 the count. Dansby hitting over 300 in the 7th inning or later, and hitting .314 with runners in scoring position. All of that in play here in his 3rd at bat. One ball, 1 strike. And Harvey got a generous call there. Dansby didn't think so. That has not been a strike all night.
Nice job by Barnhart to sell it. Tough break for Dansby. 2-1's a lot better than 1-2.
Runners lead. Pickoff play, and just back safely is Culberson. Harvey ready again. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. And Dansby protects and stays alive.
Good job. See, that's the difference. You get that call against you, and all of a sudden you're in an aggressive count on 2-1 where you can cut it loose. Count goes to 1-2 with guys on base. You've got to cover the whole width of the plate and a few inches just off of it, apparently, after that call by Woodring.
Here comes another 1-2. Fly ball to right. That's going to be caught by Winker. Charlie will tag and head to third on the second out of the inning. So it will be Danny Santana for Matt Whistler. Matt went 2 1/3. In relief of Anibal Sanchez, he allowed a run on 3 hits, struck out 2.
Nice job, though. He ate up a couple innings. That's going to end the night for Harvey.
So Jim Riggleman will make his way to the mound. Matt Harvey, as Joe said, has pitched longer in the game tonight than he has at any other time this year, and boy was he impressive. 84 pitches for Harvey, who leaves with the lead, and the Reds bullpen, which has been good, is in play late.
In-home Wi-Fi experience. Delta Airlines. And by your local Ford dealer.
Back in Atlanta, 3-1 Cincinnati. Braves runners are at the corners with 2 outs. Billy Hamilton has checked into play center field. I believe it's double switch. He's going to come in and bat 9th. And Amir Garrett, the big, tall Aroldis Chapman lookalike on the mound, is going to come on and pitch.
Boy, those are some long legs, aren't they? Hard thrower, low to mid 90s fastball, hard slider, and a changeup. Lefty's only hitting 209. Right-handers not even that high. An impressive lefty.
Former college basketball player. As Danny Santana will turn around and hit right-handed. Runner at third, runner at first for Atlanta. The Braves 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and Garrett delivers a quick strike. Garrett's allowed 11 runs. 5 of them have come on homers. One of them was hit by Freddie Freeman up in Cincinnati. And a slider in the dirt. Garrett now a 1-1 count. Fouled away late by Santana. Garrett 6'5", 228, a 22nd round pick out of Nevada. He lives in Las Vegas in the offseason. Played basketball at St. John's. Then transferred to Cal State Northridge and played for Reggie Theus, the former Hawk guard. Now to play foul, 1-2. And this is a guy whose name I've heard bandied about as a potential target for some teams to maybe try to get to bolster a bullpen.
You can understand why with his numbers.
One ball, two strikes. The pitch. Caught on and missed. A slider, and Garrett puts out a fire and gives Matt Harvey a 3-1 lead after 7 complete.
Score of 3-1. Earlier we showed you that Tampa Bay took care of Washington. Philadelphia fell as well tonight. The Yankees bombed them out of the building. Our Xfinity game break. We take you to the first inning. Jake Arrieta on the hill, and Aaron Hicks says, I'll take care of that one, and deposit it in the center field area. 11th of the season, not to be outdone. Didi Gregorius in the 5th, his 15th. Arrieta drops to 5-6, gave up 9 hits in 5 tonight. 6-0 the final, fellas.
No, Jake Arrieta's ERA in June is, fellas?
No.
6.66.
Nice.
6 runs, 3 earned today as the Yankees shut out the Phillies, who have a very tough road ahead. Shane Carl is on. He'll try to hold Cincinnati right where they are. He's got Jeanette, Suarez, and Winker coming up. Matt Whistler 2 1/3 innings of 1-run ball. Braves have mustered a run on 6 hits, have left 5 on base, and have gone 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position to this point.
Shane's had a couple of days off. As you see his numbers, pitched in 2 games against the Orioles, 3 total innings, a 1-hit shutout ball.
Cleveland scored a couple of runs in St. Louis. 2-0 is the score at Busch. That's where we play next. Braves open up a 3-game series in St. Louis coming up. And that just missed.
Indians are playing like the Indians suddenly. Had their winning streak snap, but now a 7.5-game lead over Minnesota.
That escalated quickly, didn't it?
Yeah.
Carl's falling behind 3-0 to Jeanette. Walks have been a problem for the Braves pen this month. And now 3-1 the count. By the way, Cardinals won 4-0 yesterday. That was the 10,000th win in St. Louis Cardinal history. And tonight, Cleveland gave Corey Kluber 2 first-inning runs. Might be game over as well as he's been pitching. Carlos Martinez started for St. Louis, and he's had a rough go. 3-1 pitch is up and away, ball 4. And you know what the Braves are saying?
Yeah.
If that's a strike to Swanson, why is it not a strike for Jeanette? So a leadoff walk in a 2-run game. Suarez coming up. He's 0 for 3.
Agreed. It's outside pitch track strike zone, but that was a strike called by Woodring earlier.
Braves bullpen in May seemingly had the bases on balls thing turned around after a very rough March and April. There's the pitch to Suarez, who's 0 for 3. In May, the Braves relief corps threw 97 2/3 innings and walked 29 men. So far in June, they've thrown 20 fewer innings. They have walked 3 more men than last month. And their collective relief ERA almost a run and a half higher as a result.
Well, I mean, that's, you know, it kind of goes hand in hand. You're walking guys, you tend to give up more runs. I don't know why that is, but it just seems to work that way.
No balls and a strike. Runner goes. Good jump, and it's off the foot of Carl, who recovers and throws to first. That was a good play, but almost a bad break. Ozzie was covering the bag at second, and he might have had a chance to get a force of Jeanette. And Atlanta's going to come out and check on Shane here.
Hoping it hit the bottom of his shoe.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Or on the heel. Way to stay with it.
Atlanta's already lost 1 pitcher tonight because of injury. Anibal Sanchez left with a calf cramp.
I like the way you enunciated that.
That one could get you in trouble. And if Buck Farmer were pitching on that play, Lord knows what would happen. So Carl, a quick warm-up toss. He's ready. And Winker's going to stand in. He's 2 for 3. An infield hit and an RBI back in the 4th inning. Pirates and Mets tied 3-3. That game moves to the 9th inning at Citi Field. Milwaukee is shutting out Kansas City 5-zip. Cardinals got a run in the first. It's 2-1. Cleveland now the lead. Here it's 3-1 Cincinnati. Jesse Winker with Jeanette at second, 1 out in the 8th. Good pitch, good result. Strike 1. Looking ahead to the Braves 8th. Top of the order's coming up. Inciarte, Albies, Freeman, then Markakis. Almost certainly Garrett's going to come back out. As this one's hit up the middle, Dansby can't get it. And Jeanette's going to come around. Ender's throw to the plate is going to be late. And that leadoff walk, as Tom just said, comes home to roost, and Cincinnati extends the lead.
Winker's picked up 2 walks tonight. 1 in the 4th inning after Jeanette had walked with 1 out. It's, to me, guys, it's that first batter, whether it's a walk or a base hit. It's just, they're just having a difficult time getting the first one.
Yeah, and you know, that kind of goes hand in hand too with, you know, our discussion about the innings pitch that the guys in the bullpen are doing. That's adding wear and tear too, because you're coming out there and right away you're pitching making stressful pitches. You're taking longer to get through innings. You know, all that stuff adds up.
And what we saw a lot of times in the early days of this homestand with the Orioles in particular, the offense was able to keep the games close by scoring a lot of runs. That hasn't been the case tonight. Just 1 run for the Braves. And frankly, this entire homestand, while Atlanta's done a reasonably good job of plating their scoring chances, they've had a chance to blow out a lot of these games, but haven't been able to come up with a group of big hits to do that. In fact, in this Reds series so far, the Braves offensively are 2 for 17 with runners in scoring position. And I think in the Baltimore series, they had left 42 men on base with 26 in scoring position. So that's not very efficient. And Duvall an 0-2 count. And he's retired on a high strike. And a brief argument is completed. 2 outs. Let's take a look at our Geico Today in Baseball history on this date in 1968, 50 years ago. The Major League Executive Council decides that both the American League and National League will play 162 game schedules in 1969 and create divisional play, 2 6-team divisions. And 69, a very special year. The Braves won the West, the Mets won the East, and met in a playoff showdown for the right to go to the World Series.
I would like to have been in that meeting to determine how Atlanta played in the West and St. Louis was in the East.
Yeah.
One ball, no strikes. There's a good pitch. It's even 1-1. I'm sure it had more to do with preserving the rivalry of the Cardinals and Mets and the Cardinals and Cubs than anything that the Braves could do about it.
It was a new world, you know.
Yeah.
If it's going to be new, then make it new. That was kind of crazy.
Well, the best part of it was at least the Braves had the better road trips. They got to go to LA, San Diego, and San Francisco multiple times every year.
That made for a lot of traveling.
2 balls, 1 strike. Carl got the corner. It's even. 4-1 Reds lead in game 2. Braves have 6 outs left to get it tied or take the lead.
Cincinnati was in the West also with that realignment. Chicago, St. Louis in the East. A lot of discussion between Tyler and Mr. Woodring.
Well, I wish he would ring Peraza up right here.
I'm with you.
Runner goes, and he did just that. Carl strikes out the last 2, but a leadoff walk comes back to make things a little more difficult for the Braves, who will have the top of their order up against Amir Garrett in a 3-run Cincinnati game. 8th inning, 4-1, Cincinnati the lead.
Visit your nearest Advance Auto Parts store to get the quality parts you want from people that know a lot about them.
Enter Inciarte, Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman, right guys, right time. But boy, oh boy, whatever advantage you think about with this trio of Atlanta hitters can often be erased by a man as tough as left-hander Amir Garrett. He struck out Sanchez to end the 7th inning. And now he goes to work here in the 8th. And the first pitch is off the pitcher's leg, and he's down in a heap in front of the mound. And Garrett is hurting. That ball caught him flush on the leg, and Garrett splayed on the infield grass.
Yeah, it looked like I hit him right on the kneecap.
Yeah. The outside of the left knee, just below it. He was trying to go get the ball and his leg wouldn't let him. Jim Riggleman's going to take him out of the game. It looks like he's not going to take any chances with his ace setup man.
Well, that's a shame. You hate to see a young player as talented as Garrett have to leave the game. However, from a baseball standpoint, that is a big help for the Braves' hopes for a comeback. Garrett limps off. Boy, oh boy, he's really hurting. An infield hit for Inciarte gets the 8th inning started.
The Braves have a few guys on the DL that they are just itching to get back. 2 of those being their closer, Arodys Vizcaino, and of course Ronald Acuna Jr. Now for Vizcaino, he's on the DL with a sore shoulder. He did play catch before the game today. Brian Snitker tells us that he will travel with the team on this next road trip. On Friday, they hope to get him throwing off of a mound. They really want to amp things up, and they anticipate adding him back on Sunday whenever he's eligible to come off. Now, for Ronald Acuna Jr., he made his 5th rehab start down in Gwinnett tonight. He started in left field. He's made 3 starts in left, 2 at DH. He went 1 for 4. He's picked up 3 hits so far. No word on when he could be back, but it could be as early as this weekend, guys.
All right, Kelsey, great report. Good news down on the farm for the Braves, who are still alive in this game, trailing 4-1 with a man aboard and nobody out, and it's Michael Lorenzen on to pitch.
He worked last night and 2/3 of an inning, gave up a hit and a walk, and was fortunate that he didn't allow any runs. Able to retire a couple of hitters on fielder's choice and a ground ball to get out of it. He throws hard, 95 to 97, cutter, slider, changeup. Right-handers really having a tough time against him. Has not allowed a home run this year. 19 2/3 innings.
All right, so let's see the Braves put together 3 singles and 2 doubles against Lorenzen, who has as much time as he needs to get ready after Amir Garrett, hit by a batted ball by Ender Inciarte, had to leave the game and was noticeably limping as he made his way to the Cincinnati dugout. So Lorenzen's going to get one more toss, it appears. He said he's ready, and now Ozzie Albies will come up. Ozzie has one of the Braves' hits tonight. That came in the 6th inning, and he was erased on a line drive double play off the bat of Nick Markakis.
Well, it's the right part of the order, top of the order, who seem to always come through late in the ball game too.
So Ozzie is up. Ender is the runner at first base. Ender's been stuck on 20 steals for a while, down 3 runs. He's not going to be running here, you wouldn't figure. But good speed aboard for the Braves. A gapper could get you a run. Let's see how it works out. And the first one way high, ball 1. No history head-to-head with Albies and Lorenzen. And a high fly ball hammered toward right center field. Long run, Hamilton up against the wall. He can't get it. Ball is down. Everybody's safe. They're at second and third with nobody out. And Atlanta will again do what they do. They bring the tying run to the plate with nobody out.
Well, for a split second, I thought he had done it again. I thought he'd hit one out of here. And I would have been very confident that he was going to get a gapper, except Hamilton runs so well and almost caught that ball.
Yeah, he went a long way and looked for a second like maybe he did catch it, but off the wall, and here we go again.
So second and third, nobody out for Freeman, Markakis, and Flowers. And listen to the crowd. Swing and a miss. Peraza playing up the middle, almost right behind the second base bag. So a big hole between Suarez, who's well off the line at third, and the Red shortstop. Breaking ball badly missed outside. 1-1 the count. Jim Riggleman wanted Garrett to go through this portion of the lineup and then do what he had to do in the 9th. But Garrett's out with an injury. Pitch low, ball 2. Reds have Kyle Crockett, but he pitched here last night. Freddie ahead in the count. Ground ball hit toward first. Votto will make the play. A run is in. That makes it a 4-2 game. Ender scores. Albies to third. Freeman's 54th RBI, and Nick Markakis the batter. So that run belongs to Garrett.
And that's something that the Braves have been seeking, is just those ground balls when the infield's back. Give you a run. They'll play back on Nick too.
If anybody deserves to find a gap, it's Nick Markakis. As hard as he's hit the ball as hard as he's hit the ball tonight, easy for me to say, 0 for 3. play Matt Harvey made on his comebacker in the 4th inning might be the biggest play in the game for the Reds defensively. That turned into an out with Ozzie Albies caught off third base. The Braves got 1 run in that inning after 2 on, nobody out. No balls and a strike. Again, that was a strike to Swanson earlier, but a ball here to Markakis. Another late inning run for the Braves, who need 2 to tie. The pitch. Over but low. A lot of pacing and pawing around in the Reds infield and outfield. A long inning for them with the injury and the subsequent warm up by Lorenzen here. Out of play, 2-2.
Got a pretty good pitch to hit there too.
Well, those add-on runs we talk about so often really hurt. Cincinnati cashed in a leadoff walk for their 4th run. That one doesn't come in, you'd have a 1-run game here. Atlanta with 5 outs left. The pitch. It's hit right to the shortstop in the shift. The Reds trade the run for the out. Markakis' 50th RBI brings home Albies. It's now a 4-3 game.
That is okay. That is so much better than a strikeout. It gets the run in. It makes it a 1-run ball game. It makes it a whole lot easier to try to tie this game up, trailing by 1, then by 2 or 3.
Yeah, much easier to try and get 1. So productive out.
Tyler Flowers with 4 homers this year. It's time for Lorenzen to give up his first. The pitch. Almost hit him. Ball 1.
50th RBI for Nick.
50 RBIs and 101 hits before the All-Star break. That's pretty good. 1-0 pitch.
Tyler Flowers has hit home runs this year off pitchers that nobody else can hit home runs off of.
Right.
Starting with Quintana in Chicago, but this guy hasn't given up a homer. Maybe it's time he did.
Well, he'll settle for a single. So Lorenzen's given up a couple of hits, and now the winning run comes to the plate. Peter Borges is going to run for Flowers, and Charlie Culberson will be the Atlanta hitter. So Flowers with a 2-hit night. And Jim Riggleman is on his way out to talk to Tom Woodring. He's going to make a double switch as Lorenzen came in as the fill-in reliever after Garrett got hurt, and he's given up a run on 2 hits, and it's now a 1-run game. Reds clinging to a 4-3 lead. Braves giving us a finish yet again at home. We'll see how it works out after a break. taking on Sweden at 9 Eastern on Fox, or you can stream it all live on the Fox Sports app. Brandon Dixon takes over in right field for the Reds. He'll bat in the #1 spot on the lineup card, and Jim Riggleman said enough. He's bringing his closer in right now. It's Raisel Iglesias with Borges at first and Culberson in the box. 4-3 game.
You see a lot of strikeouts there in 32 and a third innings. This guy is awfully tough.
Generous strike.
94 to 98 on his fastball. And you just saw a slider.
It did not appear to be a strike.
Boy, a little inconsistency.
Then he comes back with a 96-mile-an-hour heater.
Isn't this the guy, one of the guys that the Reds got for Dan Straley from Miami?
Don't believe that's the case. Let me see here. He was, I believe, an international player. They signed him out of Cuba.
Okay.
And got a 7-year contract.
Maybe it's the guy pitching tomorrow I'm thinking about, Castillo.
Castillo. That's the guy. Remember, Iglesias, I think he pitched against the Braves as a starter one time up in Cincinnati a couple of years ago and was pretty impressive. And another guy that will draw a ton of interest. He's ahead of Charlie. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Way outside. 2-2. Switch hitter Johan Camargo waits on deck. Charlie's battled back to an even count. Reds 4, Braves 3. Hits even, 9 apiece. Big hole right side if Charlie can fill it. Pitch way outside, full count. Now Borges can run.
Well, it was a good read by Charlie to pick that slider up right away. Nowhere near home plate.
Yeah, he's thrown him 3 in a row and all out there. Hasn't really done anything to get him back off it. He's seeing it, knows it's off the plate.
That start, he went 8 innings, chipped only 1 earned run back in 2015.
3 balls, 2 strikes. It's ball 4. Tying run in scoring position. Iglesias walks the first man he is assigned. And now it will be Camargo with a chance to be a 2-out late inning hero again for the Braves. Johan's had a terrific June. 16 of his 31 RBIs have come this month. Maybe this guy will hang a slider and Camargo will hit one into the chop house.
That'd be good.
The stretch and pitch. Ball 1.
That was a good patient take too. Johan wasn't jumping out there to try to attack his fastball. He was very patient. Great numbers there with 2 out.
Time called.
That was a 3rd pitch, changeup. Johan presents some problems to him, I think, Tom, in that he likes to throw that sidearm sweeping slider, and Johan's so far off the plate, he's better off trying to backdoor it than come in on him.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's hard.
Sorry, he's gonna have to do something in there to get him off of that slider, because he's, He's going to see it as much as it sweeps.
And as hard as he throws, if Johan's a little late, he could hit it between third and short. Lots of options here. The pitch. Another change. So it's a ball and 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out.
Well, is he going to throw him 3 in a row?
He's got the count to do it and not have to throw it for a strike.
And no matter what happens here in the 8th, this long inning for Atlanta guarantees that Inciarte will come up. One more batter. It could be Albies. 2 more. You might see Freeman in the 9th inning. So the Braves have given themselves a shot, down a run with 2 here in the 8th. The runners lead. Here comes the pitch. Popped him up. And Dixon in right is there, and he's got it. And that retires the side. Atlanta gets 2 runs off 3 Cincinnati pitchers in the inning. We've got a 1-run game going to the 9th. Shut down frame. Kurt Suzuki will work in tandem with Shane Carl, who has to tangle with Billy Hamilton, who will bat for the first time tonight. Hamilton, Dixon, and Barnhart. Votto lurking 4th for Cincinnati. How about a clean 1-2-3 inning? Braves have 1-1-2-3 frame defensively. It was the very first inning. And a strike to Hamilton. It's 0-1. Billy got the start last night, was the 9th place hitter. Went 0 for 4 with a walk, which snapped his 7-game hitting streak. Lined right to second. Hard hit ball, 1 out. And here's Schebler. He's got an RBI double in his 4 trips tonight. Excuse me, Dixon. I beg your pardon, Dixon. Wrote it down on everything and still got it wrong. Thanks, fellas.
Kind of like the intentional walk thing with me.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks. It's Dixon, who's hitting .231. 1 homer, 1 RBI. And that's downstairs, ball 1. Dixon part of that trade with the Dodgers that sent Todd Frazier to the White Sox, a 3-team deal. Jose Peraza and Scott Schebler came over as well. That turned out to be a very good deal for Cincinnati. Ground ball hit toward Dansby. He's got it. Quick release, and Dixon is done. And here's Barnhart, the Reds catcher. Right Yep, Tucker's up there. He's 1 for 4. Well, let's hope Iglesias stiffens up a bit on that dugout bench for the Reds. In the Atlanta ninth, Braves will have Swanson, the pitcher's spot, and then Ender Inciarte. Strike one.
The Braves only have one extra man left, and that's Ryan Flaherty. Should pretty much count on him being the second hitter of the inning.
No balls, 1 strike. Mets won tonight. They beat Pittsburgh 4-3. Cardinals all over Corey Kluber. That's 6-2 St. Louis in the second inning.
It's a full moon, you know.
Yeah.
Scherzer lost 2.
Right. How does he lose 3 games in a row?
Because as little as he's given up, they're scoring less.
They're averaging less than a run per game in his last 4 starts.
Good news for Cincinnati. They took Amir Garrett downstairs. With the excellent medical facilities here at SunTrust Park, they can x-ray players in real time. Those x-rays on his left leg were negative after he left the game on a batted ball from Ender. He's going to be sore for a couple days, I would think. 3 balls and a strike for Barnhart. Don't want to face Votto in the ninth if you can avoid it, but the Braves will have to. It's another walk. Votto 0 for 4, and that's what scares you the most.
And he's drawn a walk in 10 straight games. No walks tonight.
Yeah, 13 walks in that stretch for Cincy. Swinging away here and didn't get it. Strike 1. Houston's up 7-0 on Toronto. The Blue Jays got bad news today. Josh Donaldson, it was thought was getting closer and closer to a return. That problematic calf. Well, another setback for him. It's going to take at least 3 more weeks for him to try to return to the big leagues. What a devastating year for Josh Donaldson, who's a free agent at the end of this year. And for Toronto, trying to figure out what to do with him. Can't get him on the field, so his value plummeting at the moment. 1-1 pitch. Way outside. Ball 2.
Votto has an interesting pre-swing ritual where he steps across onto home plate, touches the opposite side of it, and then gets ready to hit.
I was watching that, trying to figure out exactly what he's doing, but routine.
Nice 3-1 pitch. He's had a few of those tonight. Anibal Sanchez made a couple of really good pitches to him off speed when he was behind in the count to Votto.
So Barnhart will get a head start here. Freeman will play right behind him. Might save him a step or so. As Carl gets set with his 3-2 pitch to Joey Votto, and here it is. Runner goes. It's outside. Votto walks for an 11th straight game. Back-to-back walks with 2 outs. 3 of those for Carl in an inning and 2/3. And Chuck Hernandez is on his way out. And now Scooter Gennett's going to be the hitter, and all Scooter has done tonight is walk twice, score thrice, and he's hit a double. And Tom, I loved your point you made earlier. Look, pitchers don't want to walk guys, but the end result is more base runners, more pitches, and as you said, the stress of those pitches.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's added wear and tear that, you know, you don't necessarily need. And you know, now here we are, like you said, we talk about shutdown inning, and you still might end up getting a shutdown inning here, but it's become a lot more stressful than it needed to be.
So Scooter with a 9-game hitting streak, 10 hits in those 9 games. The double came in the 6th tonight, and 2 are on, 2 are out. Didn't get it. Strike 1. The Milwaukee Brewers placed Scooter Gennett on waivers March 28th of last year. The Reds scooped him up, and all he did was hit 27 homers and drive in 97 last season in Cincy. Perfect pitch, 0-2. The 27 homers by Gennett in his first year as a Red. The 5th highest total homers by a first-year Red player in their team's history. Greg Vaughn with 45 has the most. No balls, 2 strikes. The pitch is out of play.
I would not have guessed Greg Vaughn.
Nope. Vaughn with 45, Ken Griffey Jr. with 40, Frank Robinson 38, Ron Gant 29, Scooter Gennett 27.
Griffey would have been my pick.
No balls, 2 strikes. And Gennett stays alive. He's the only player in Major League history to produce in the same season 4 grand slams and a 4-homer game.
That's a solid season.
Yeah. He's making Carl work overtime here. The 0-2 pitch with 2 on. Here it comes. And over the screen, out of play. It's not like this guy was a bad player with Milwaukee.
No, no.
14 homers the year before in 2016. Lifetime .283 hitter. Born in Cincinnati, lived in nearby Lebanon, Ohio until he was 9. Then his family moved to Sarasota. And now back at home with the Reds. The pitch. He is putting on a staying alive show here in the 9th.
Yeah, he is expanding the zone, not caring if it's 6 inches outside. He's getting a piece of it.
One of Gennett's 4 grand slams last year came against the Chief, Jim Johnson. It was on August 19th. Adam Wainwright, Brad Hand, and Rick Porcello, his other victims. No balls, 2 strikes again. And a broken bat pop. Long run. Markakis can't get there. Streaking around third is Barnhart. And Scooter Gennett with a big league at bat provides the Reds a huge insurance run. And another walk comes home to roost. Cincinnati with 5 runs, 3 of them thanks to a base on balls tonight.
Wasn't a bad pitch. Cutter coming in on him, broke his bat. Slider. He hit it just hard enough to get it out over the infield and soft enough to drop in front of Nick.
So Suarez will be intentionally walked. And now Jim Riggleman with a 2-run lead has his pitchers scheduled to hit, and was going to say, if Iglesias wasn't coming out, they had another guy coming out. The Braves would have taken that trade. They want to pinch hit for him. Go right ahead. So the intentional walk loads the bases. And it will be Iglesias.
Second at bat, 0 for 1 with a strikeout.
So all this trouble with 2 outs, 2 walks, a bloop hit. Great fight by Jeanette, fouling off 3 or 4 0-2 pitches, the intentional walk, and now Iglesias, who's now staked to a 2-run lead. And a shot right to Freddie Freeman will end the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, 3 walks, 1 of them extremely costly. Xfinity, the post-game show will follow us, hopefully after the Braves complete a 3-run 9th-inning rally and steal another one from the Reds, who have taken a 5-3 lead. It'll be Dansby Swanson, Ryan Flaherty, and then the top of the order, Ender Inciarte against Mr. Iglesias, who walked the first batter he faced and then got Yohan Camargo to pop out to end the Atlanta 8th. Braves have had some chances, but are 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position again tonight. Same RISP number they had in game 1. Let's see what kind of threat they can mount here with Dansby up there. Dansby's singled and he's flied to right twice.
Well, see if you can get that leadoff guy on, and who knows after that.
There's a good slider. Dansby took it. Strike 1. Line drive into left field. Dansby's aboard. So a 2-hit game for the Braves shortstop, and there's a start.
Can't throw this man a fastball inner half. He'll turn on it. That was 96. Target away. Pitch was up and in.
So Flaherty will pinch hit. And he looks outside. Ball 1.
That extra run in the top of the inning takes away any chance of bunting him over, putting him into scoring position for the top of the order.
So Shane Carl, 2 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. And that's bounced right to first. Votto steps on the bag. Now Dansby's in a rundown between first and second. High throw, and he's finally tagged out. So Flaherty and the Braves are doubled up, and the fate of the game rests in the hands of Ender Inciarte. (3-6-1-4) gets Swanson in the rundown. Flaherty out unassisted at first base. It's double play. And here is Ender, who's 1 for 4. Remember, the Phillies lost today. The Nationals lost today. Atlanta began action tonight, 3.5 games in front in the division. If this score holds, that'll be the margin heading into Game 3 tomorrow afternoon at 12:10. Iglesias looking for his 14th save. Matt Harvey in line to win this game. It'll be his 3rd victory. And he'd even his mark with the Reds at 3-3 after a terrific 6 2/3 innings, 6-hit, 1-run performance. And only 84 pitches in those 6 2/3 innings.
He was good.
Yeah, very good. Efficient in the zone, and another positive step forward for him.
Fouled away. Good take. Well, if Ender can get on, we know Ozzie can hit the ball out of the ballpark. You know, Freddie Freeman can hit the ball out of the ballpark too. But the Braves are down to their last strike. And now the 2-2 pitch is popped over by the Reds dugout and into the seats, where the Marty Burnham fan club fights over the souvenir. It's a small but spunky band, that fan club here in Atlanta, for Marty.
Yeah.
Again, the 2-2. Full count. How about that? What a walk. Braves aren't dead yet. First career walk-off homer for Ozzie Albies came last night. A long ball could tie it here in the 9th in Game 2.
First pitch of the 11th inning. Right into the monkey grass, just enough.
Freeman on deck. Braves are down to their last strike. They're still alive. Ender has a huge lead at first, and a swing and a miss. Almost 11 o'clock in Atlanta. The Braves hope the 9th inning will strike midnight for Iglesias. Braves need 2 to tie, 3 to win. He's broken out some excellent off-speed stuff against Albies here. 0-2.
He's doubled up on that changeup to a couple of guys.
The 0-2 pitch. It's cut on and missed. And the Reds hang on and win game 2. 5-3 is your final score. The Braves will remain 3.5 in front in the East. The series tied at a game apiece. And fellow Sean Newcomb will face Luis Castillo with the series victory on the line here tomorrow at noon.
Well, look for him to go out there and keep doing what he's been doing and get the Braves a series victory.
He's been really good after a loss, too.
Matt Harvey, the winner. Iglesias picks up the save. And the Braves and Reds have battled to a 3-3 tie in the season series so far in 2018. Braves Live's coming up next. Joe and Tom will join me to recap game 2 here in Atlanta next.